Welcome back to the Michigan Business Beat, brought to you on the Michigan Business Network. I'm Chris Holman, and we are coming to you from our studios at the Capital Region International Airport in Lansing, Michigan. But we're going to run down to Detroit right now, and we're going to talk a little bit with Kristin Dziczek. She is the policy advisor for the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago. And Kristin, it's always good to have you on. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Chris. How are you?
Trying to stay warm. I hope you are too.
Yeah, it was a bit of a drive this morning, but yeah, we're here. It's warm.
Speaking of heat, you're going to bring a little bit to the area tomorrow. You have your annual, your Automotive Insights Symposium. Tell us a little bit about what that is and when and where.
Sure. It's the 30th annual Automotive Insights Symposium. So I'm fortunate to have picked up a legacy here, and I've done the last two since I joined the Fed. I was a speaker at a number of them before that. It's a gathering of, you know, business folks and bankers and analysts and economists and people from the industry and stakeholders to get a pulse on, it's January. What are we going to do in 2024? What does this industry look like? So we put together an agenda looking at what we think are some of the critical issues, things that happened in 2023 and things that are going to be affecting this industry as we move forward. So it's here at the Detroit branch of the Chicago Fed. You do have to register in advance. The Fed is a secure building, so you can't just show up on the day of. So you come to our website at chicagofed.org to register.
And by the way, that day is Wednesday, January 17th. So
Wednesday and Thursday.
Yeah, Wednesday and Thursday. Okay, so let's talk about the topics because I was just at the real estate update, commercial real estate update, and it is incredibly informative. Automobiles, of course, our biggest industry.
Well, we aim to have something that's topical, informative, and brings new perspectives to people. We're the Fed, so we're trying to look at this from a much broader perspective. So this is it's January, so we will have sort of a forecast outlook kind of session in the morning. We're looking at a panel right after that with suppliers and how suppliers are dealing with this transition to electric vehicles, especially as there's been news of sort of slowing the pace of the transition. Suppliers live and die on volumes, and many of them have made big investments in this EV transition. So how are they dealing with that slowing transition? We're going to look at the costs. Costs are always a big issue, and costs have changed quite a bit. We have mineral costs are changing, labor costs are changing, and there's whole new ways of building vehicles and a big juggernaut of an EV manufacturing powerhouse in China that's able to make very inexpensive EVs at a profit. So, there's been this, we aren't going to get electric vehicle adoption until we get $25,000 EV. Well, they have an $11,000 EV that they make profits on and are ready to launch on the world. So we're going to talk a lot about costs and China. We're going to look at trade deals. We're going to look at minerals and whether we have enough and where are they coming from, especially in light of the IRA, and it has the Inflation Reduction Act and its more stringent criteria on where those minerals components are going to come from. And we're going to wrap up with what does the future look like for labor? I mean, we had a big strike in 2023, and we've got some experts who can help us think through how does this relationship evolve going forward, and what does the outlook look like for labor?
Yeah, and you're obviously talking about the world market and the Chinese possibly bringing their brands here as well. Let's
well, they're here already. I mean, there are Chinese built vehicles in the U.S. market already. I think what some people don't know, I mean, China was 0% of the Mexican market just about 5 or 6 years ago, and now they make up 20%. Chinese built vehicles are 20% of the Mexican market. They're investing heavily in Mexico as well. So, I mean, they're here. It's coming.
This reminds me a little bit about when the Japanese entered into the American auto market, same way. So let's talk a little bit about, the speakers. Who all is going to be there that's going to bring some expertise to this?
Well, we have a lot of great speakers. The Outlook panel, we look to, the Outlook forecast folks. from Cox Automotive, from Global Data, from S&P Global, and Wards Informa. So, speakers from each of those. The suppliers, we have suppliers from Vitesco, Denso, and Bosch that all heavily into the powertrain in investment. That costing panel, it's kind of interesting. I've got one of the Wall Street analysts who's done the most detailed breakdowns and teardowns of EVs, as well as an engineering firm that's done a lot of the digital modeling around EV costs, and one of the top auto consultants who's who's helping to make this transition for companies. And then on Thursday, we've got some top trade experts from the Peterson Institute, from Toyota's head of global policy, and the Mercatus Institute as well, who are looking at trade. Minerals, an expert from the Colorado School of Mines, because where else could you go? A company from Canada that's heavily invested in making some of these minerals available here in North America, and the Center for Strategic and International Studies. Lastly, the labor panel, the folks are largely academics, MIT, and Brandeis labor experts who've worked with the auto industry for a very long time, and a former labor vice president from Ford. So they're pretty good people, and it's going to be
Great
very
lineup.
great content.
Great lineup of folks. If they can't be there, we got about 30 seconds. How do people tune in?
You can register online and join us virtually. It's a hybrid situation, as many things are. We're in this fluid situation post-pandemic where we never know how things are going to go. So it's hybrid, and there will be, after the event, the sessions will be available for streaming on our website at chicagofed.org.
Kristin Dziczek, the policy advisor for the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago. We'll see you on the 17th at your Automotive Symposium. Very good to spend time with you. You've been watching the Michigan Business Beat here on the Michigan Business Network. I'm Chris Holman.